Shaquille.
No.
It's my best.
It's my song.
Okay. Joining us on the show today is our friend Jagger Liguori and star flag football player.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And as always, my co-host and varsity water polo goalie, Jagger Roisman. So to start off the show, I want to talk about something that has been going on the past couple weeks. Myles Garrett has returned in accusing Mason Rudolph of saying the N-word in their scuffle earlier at the end of the season at the last play of the game when Myles Garrett tore off the helmet of Mason Rudolph and swung at him. He got suspended indefinitely, but was recently reinstated and won't give up the fact that Mason Rudolph did say that word. He did use that racial slur, but Mason Rudolph denies it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, because also Garrett said that there was no mic in range when all the players are apparently mic'd up now for some reason. I don't know. I just find it weird that there was no mic in range to carry that.
I find it weird too. There's mics all around the field.
Play in the game.
All around the field, all the cameras have audio.
Ball with mics on the sideline and wouldn't have picked it up necessarily anyway.
No, they said that the players were mic'd.
No, I know, but that is possible because it's not every player. It's
Oh, that's true.
It's a
I
select
mean, I don't know.
few.
I find it weird. I agree with the punishment
It's
of
more
indefinite
of
suspension.
that would be just a coincidence. But since it's word against word, there's no real way to
There's no
prove
evidence of it, yeah. I mean, I agree with the reinstatement. I thought he should have been punished more, maybe a 4-game suspension into this season, but I don't make the punishments in the NFL.
I think people are also forgetting the fact that if you go back and look at it, and I know they don't want this video to resurface because it really does make Myles Garrett look bad, but Mason Rudolph, he tried pulling the helmet off first, man.
Yeah, didn't he initiate it? Did he not get punished at all? He got fined or something?
He got fined $50,000.
So he tried pulling the helmet off first. So then when he failed in response, the helmet was taken off.
The helmet was taken off.
He should have got a suspension too.
Clearly, Myles Garrett was getting held back because Mason Rudolph did go after him.
Oh yeah,
and his teammates were holding him back.
He didn't do anything right.
Clearly, he shouldn't have thrown the helmet.
No.
But I mean,
Rudolph wasn't right.
Mason Rudolph did start it. I think
I'd say Myles and Mason Rudolph, he started it. He tried to continue it. He kept it going, which he should not have done, but that still doesn't warrant the action taken by Myles Garrett.
Garrett wasn't right in any way, shape, or form.
He handled it
but
like a small child.
I feel like Rudolph should have been punished more though, because he was the one that started it.
They're
Even though
both
he didn't
giant man babies.
have
I've also heard people say that they think that Myles Garrett should be reinstated and should be allowed to play football eventually, but maybe just carry the suspension over to maybe the first game of next season so that people remember the situation that happened, because this needs to be remembered so that nothing like this happens again in the future.
Well, yeah, because that way if a player is able to think before they do this, this is not just a couple game suspension. If Myles Garrett stays suspended, then every player is now like, oh, okay, they're not tolerating this, as opposed to
I agree with that because this is probably one of, if not the worst incidents, I would say, in recent history of football. Maybe a Vontaze Burfict hit was probably worse. But the physical
yes.
hit. I would agree that they should carry it over. How long? I don't know. I don't think it should be more than 4 games, honestly. 4 games maximum. I think Garrett should have been suspended for some part of the beginning of this season, though.
Mike Tomlin went on First Take and he completely stood behind his quarterback. He said how he has very good friends in the Browns organization. He says no one on his own team heard Mason Rudolph say that. But other people in the Browns organization have said that from the beginning. Myles Garrett came out and said he said that word. I don't understand why I'm in such deep trouble right now. Clearly there's no evidence. It can't be backed up, but I definitely think there needs to be a better job of that. I don't know. There is a part of me that believes Myles Garrett. I'm not going to lie, because I think if something is that serious...
Well, the guy's named Mason Rudolph.
I mean, there's also that uncertainty. It could have happened, but you don't know. But like all the
But you also
Steelers,
can't punish someone based on just it could have happened.
yeah, of course all the Steelers players are gonna say he didn't say it,
Yeah.
and all the Browns players are gonna say he did. So that just like I don't know, it's like a giant smoke screen kind of.
It's
What do you
word
believe?
versus word.
At least it's over now.
I'm happy that Myles Garrett gets to play football again because he's a really tremendous football player. But a punishment like that, a situation like that needs to be tolerated. And hopefully Mason Rudolph, if he did say it, knows not to do anything like that again, and not to initiate something like that. I mean, he was the one complaining how it was the last play of the game, something that should have happened, but you started it, and I don't think people like he didn't. He's not taking responsibility. Myles Garrett has said I did overreact because something and he came out and said, and Mason Rudolph hasn't, and I think something is not out that is making Myles Garrett look worse than he actually is. Even though throwing the helmet at someone's head is clearly
It's not good.
not a good act on his part at all.
I'm glad he is playing though, because he's a really good player.
Yeah, for sure. Continuing with football, a lot of talk has been in the news dealing with free agency. Free agency starts around mid-March. That's when the franchise tag is allowed to occur for all the teams. We are expecting that some players will get franchise tag. A lot of quarterbacks are the really big talk this year because this is the year of the quarterback. Tom Brady, after 20 years, can finally be an unrestricted free agent. He's looking at different options. Phillip Rivers, he leaves the Chargers. They're saying Tyrod Taylor might come, but also Cam Newton is available. Teddy Bridgewater is available.
Teddy Bridgewater is the best.
There are a lot of quarterbacks. There are a lot of quarterbacks out in the open. Drew Brees said that he is returning to New Orleans.
Yep.
We expect Taysom Hill to return to New Orleans as well because Sean Payton has said this guy will take over. But something has to be said that Teddy Bridgewater was the one that took over in the middle of the season when Drew Brees got hurt. So there's a lot of speculation going on right now around with the quarterbacks this year. But I think Tom Brady is the biggest story. Where do you think he's going to go?
I've read multiple articles. I've seen multiple interviews. I've heard a lot of fake stories saying that he wants to come to the Dolphins or the Dolphins are pursuing him. No chance. Me personally, I think he'll either end up I think he'll probably end up with the Chargers to fill Phillip Rivers. I've also heard, and it's believable because it's John Gruden, the Raiders, and I've heard that Derek Carr will hit free agency. Long shot wise, I think that there is a low but possibility that he goes to the Titans as a dark horse. I don't think so. I think it's either the Chargers or the Raiders.
I don't want to see him leave the Patriots. I know it is a possibility, but at this point in his career, he's played so long for the Patriots. Even if he goes to another team, in 30 years, even if he goes to the Chargers, we're not going to think about him as a Chargers player. Even if he wins a Super Bowl, we'll still think of him as a Patriots player. Same thing when Michael Jordan played for the Wizards. He's still not a Wizards player. He's a Chicago Bulls player. That being said, it might be interesting to see him on another team, but I find it odd.
Also, because you brought up the Patriots, there is a chance, but there's been, because Antonio Brown and how Belichick and Brady disagreed on the Antonio Brown relationship between him and the Patriots, how they released him. Brady wanted him to stay. Belichick obviously released him. And then also, Brady and his trainer have sold their houses that are in New England.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what that says about him and the Patriots relationship, but it's a
It's
possibility.
rocky right now. His relationship with Belichick has not been as steady as it once was.
I agree with that statement.
I think that it's in every sport. When a player leaves a team, we saw it with Peyton Manning, for example. He was with the Colts many years, had a great career at the Colts, led them to a couple Super Bowls, could never accomplish the win there, but leaves to the Broncos, and now all you see is him in a Broncos jersey. He has a statue in Indianapolis, but now he went to the Broncos, won Super Bowl 50, and then he went out with a bang. Then he retired. There needs to be something said for that. LeBron James with the Cavaliers came to the Heat, won 2 titles and 2 MVPs. Something needs to be said for that. You remember players in the team they once played last. Who knows? Maybe Tom Brady with the Patriots for 20 years, then goes to the Titans, for example, and wins a Super Bowl. And then he's like, oh my God, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time because he doesn't need Belichick to win, and then goes.
That won't help that point though, because it's not only about depending on Belichick, but this season, look what happened when he didn't have the tools around him. He was not successful. And he is old, that's part of it, and there are definitely a lot of factors that go into play there.
Mm-hmm.
But even if he goes to another team, I don't think it's going to change his legacy, no matter what.
With the Belichick argument, I'm going to say something really bold here. The Belichick and Brady system is not 50-50. I think Belichick has done a lot more for Brady than he has done for Belichick. I think it's 80-20 in that regard. I wouldn't be surprised if he left. I'll be honest with you. I think he will leave. Like, that's my opinion. I think he will leave.
I think the years are the problem that he's really looking for. The Raiders have come out and said, man, we're going to offer Tom Brady 2 years, $60 million. The Patriots said, we'll offer him $30 million for a year. I don't think Brady wants to prove, he wants to play. I don't think he cares about the money. Sure, he's taken those pay cuts to try and build that Patriots organization, which he's done very successfully. But this year, the Patriots have many free agents. Kyle Van Noy, their leading tackler on defense, is leaving. Joe Thuney, his best offensive lineman, is leaving. Well, I don't know leaving, but they're free agents. So the big Devin McCourtney, a lot of defensive players, a lot of star players on the Patriots, the ones that led them to be 12-4 last year, even though with the struggling receivers and the struggling offense, they're all free agents. We don't know if
this organization to crumble.
Yeah, the dynasty is just gonna fall eventually. But I think Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady wants to play, and I think that's what he's looking for. That's most important. But you have to look at all the other quarterbacks too. Like Ryan Tannehill had an amazing season. That just proves that the second half of the season. But it just proves that in a specific system you perform better. And with Adam Gase and the Dolphins, he did not, and he left and went to the Mike Vrabel system, who played under Belichick and with Tom Brady, and went to the AFC Championship. And he needs to get paid. There are quarterbacks that need to get paid, and I don't think Tom Brady necessarily cares.
You do talk about the contract situation, and I think that we have to thank Drew Brees for that, because he shaped, with his last contract, how as his quarterback get older, like these veteran quarterbacks like Brady, Brees, Rivers for that matter, we can throw them in there, how they know that they're running out of time and like their career is like on the ending part of it. Breeze has restructured how we offer these older quarterbacks contracts with the sense of very short term, like 1 or 2, maybe 3-year deals. You could do max money depending on the quarterback, which I believe Brady will get 1 year, $30 million max out deal. I don't think he cares about the money. I think he just wants to play somewhere where he has a chance.
Plenty of money. He doesn't need more money.
He just wants to probably win another championship and then go out. That's my bet.
Honestly, the best thing I've heard, the best Tom Brady situation I've heard, is that Dak Prescott goes to the Patriots. They do a trade. Brady,
I would love that.
Brady goes to the Cowboys, and he has Ezekiel Elliott and a star running back, the best offensive line in football, a solid defense, a whole new coaching staff with Mike McCarthy, who coached for Aaron Rodgers.
Do you want Tom Brady to be successful?
Yeah.
I don't. I do not want him to be successful.
I want him to go somewhere and lose.
I want him to go somewhere, go unwinning for a season, and he can.
I'm not saying with the current situation going on this offseason, and then the draft class that's coming in, all the quarterbacks that are coming in. There's so much talent to go around. I'm really excited to see where everyone goes. I've also heard Derek Carr might go to the Bears. That could leave room for Tom Brady to go to the Raiders. There's just so much stuff going on. Phillip Rivers moved down here to Miami, to Tampa, I think, in Florida. He said, I want to be closer to family. Maybe the Dolphins don't draft a quarterback and they draft someone like an O-line and bring in Phillip Rivers. No matter what happens with the Dolphins, I'm bringing up the Dolphins for a second. I think that no matter what happens, Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be the quarterback this season. They're going to do what they did with the Chiefs when Mahomes was a rookie. They sat him the whole year, played Alex Smith. Alex Smith, they moved him to Washington, and Patrick Mahomes became a superstar. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a quarterback like Justin Herbert or Tua, because Tua clearly has injuries with his hip and stuff, and he's going to sit him anyways. But and I'm not saying he might not start off healthy, but I think the best option and what the Dolphins are going to do, because Brian Flores is smart, they're going to sit the quarterback the whole year, let Fitzpatrick play out his final season of his contract. He'll go out and we'll have a hopefully rising star on our hands.
I agree with that. I've heard that they are going to take, if they take Tua or Herbert, they will let him, well, Tua especially with the hip and ankle injuries, they will let him sit, have Fitzpatrick play, teach him up, and then only play him if it's necessary. I like that strategy because, being honest, I don't see us competing for a playoff in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Because we're full rebuild right now. So I like that. I like developing a younger quarterback with probably one of the best veteran quarterbacks right now in the league, knowledge-wise. I like it, and I would also like them. I would be happy if they brought back Fitzpatrick for another year or two after his contract expired.
He's got that beard. It's infectious. How can you not like that?
Fitzmagic.
It's magic.
Another thing that's going on with the NFL right now is the new CBA that the owners have proposed to the organization, which is basically the collective bargaining agreement is basically they can change the salary, expand the NFL. So right now they're talking about raising the salary from like I think 46 or 47% to 48%. So the salary cap will enlarge. They're also talking about expanding the regular season to from 16 games to 17 games. So I guess. I don't know. Do they play all 17 games, or is there an 18-game season with a bye? I don't know all the specifics. And then they're also talking about expanding the playoff from 6 to 7 teams per conference, and making it a 14-team total playoff. So like the Steelers would have been in this year, the Rams would have been in it. The first team, the first seeded team would get a bye, and then you play from there. So it's different. But I'm interested to see how it goes. They said it could happen as soon as this upcoming season. The players' organization, the NFLPA, is very mixed on it. I've seen like Richard Sherman, J.J. Watt, a lot of superstar players who use their Twitter to speak their mind have gone on record saying like this is not something that we want, especially for player safety because that's an extra game. They need that bye week to take a break and relax. So it could be it could be an issue. What are your thoughts?
I agree with part of it. I like the salary cap increase because I think more can be done with player-wise, with contracts, and it'd be more interesting for the league. I don't mind the playoff expansion. I think more teams would be in, which would be better for viewership and things like that. I do not like the game extension because, as you just said, it increases injury risks.
I agree.
Like skyrockets it because people think that one game doesn't mean much, but it can take one game for your player to go down and be done for their career. Like you can have a career-ending injury in one play in an extra game that doesn't even matter really. So I like part of it. I don't like it all. If I had to vote now,
especially it gets rid of that huge advantage in the bye week. The bye week is very
seen
important.
Yeah.
Even aside from injuries, just like you said, J.J. Watt said, with just being able to rest and kind of recalibrate your body and your mind to be able to go into the next week. It's important.
I've heard I think it was Stephen A. Smith that brought up actually, who was like, I think there needs to be something in the new CBA that says like if you're going to expand it to a 17-game season, each player on the team, all 53 players, should only be allowed to play 16. So you expand it to 17, and it's not saying that you're all the starters need to sit and you put in all the bench players for one game because that's a loss. But let's say like if you're the Steelers, for example, like Ben Roethlisberger's coming back, you have the whole team. Like you have Ben Roethlisberger sit one game, you put in the backup, which would be Mason Rudolph, and then the next game. He comes back, but like Juju's out because it just depends on the schedule. It depends on the player if they want to rotate. But I don't like players that want to play all 17.
Is make it like about the amount of minutes that you play. So instead of having them out for a whole game, instead of having a game
play
that
the first quarter,
example the Steelers, instead of having a game that Ben Roethlisberger has to sit out, have a game that he will start by sitting, and then if they need him, they can still bring him back.
Yeah, you also think that playoff teams usually sit their starters and their first strings in the last couple weeks.
Unless they really need to.
If every team has to do it, I don't think that will go over well. I don't like that idea. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the game extension in general. If I had to vote today, I'd vote no on it.
The CBA that we're talking about right now is the one the owners proposed, because it's also for their own sake. It's their money. They get more income. They get more views on their team, and the NFL because it's crazy. They get so much money. The owners, the NFL gets like billions of dollars each year. It's insane. Yeah. And yet the NFL salary of the players is like the lowest out of all the sports. And I think something that needs to be said. Tom Brady is nowhere significant to like LeBron, and they're like on the same stature, and so I think something needs to be said for that. But that the Players Association is also coming out with their own CBA, I think, this week, so they're going to propose something. They're also going to vote on the other one and vice versa. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen this upcoming season. I don't know if it'll occur this upcoming season or maybe in future seasons, but I don't know how I feel about it all entirely.
Well, you mentioned that the NFL players are the lowest paid of the major sports. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think they need to get paid more. I'd say that other sports can just get paid a little bit less. I'd say that, especially with NBA players, some of these guys, they don't even play defense. They don't need to be paid these ridiculous amounts of money. It's so much.
You also think about how many people are on an NBA roster?
15.
That's
how many
true.
are on an NFL roster?
53.
Right.
Plus,
True.
the NBA has a D League. Like, there's many layers of the NBA, whereas the NFL is just the NFL, and then they have like practice
true.
squads, but that doesn't like really count as one.
Yeah. Do you think it's weird for like a quarterback like Jameis Winston, for example, who threw 30 touchdowns, had a decent year, also threw 30 interceptions, and basically was the defensive player of the year? Like, I'm not like, but he's saying like, so what? I can fix the turnover problem. I play in a fast-paced system, a hard system to play in, and I threw 30 touchdowns, so I deserve $35 million. And if the Bucs don't give me that, I'll leave. He literally said that. Like, I deserve $35 million. Tom Brady's not even asking for that.
It sounds just so spoiled to me. Like, give me $35 million
know,
or
right?
I'm leaving. It's like, and especially because it's coming from Jameis Winston. This is not a top player that's saying that. This is Jameis Winston.
I didn't even mean to pinpoint Jameis Winston. I meant to just in general. Like,
I don't think he
I
deserves
don't like
35
that.
million.
I think that you're a part of a team.
I
You're a
don't
part of a team, and it
you want to
shouldn't
compete for the
be
championship.
the money that's keeping you there. If you're in it for a championship, that's one thing. If you're in it for success, that's one thing. But if you're in it just for the money, then that is a
that's
big
why all
problem
these
for
great
us.
athletes take pay cuts because they know it's
Right.
a team game. Like when LeBron and Wade and Bosh were down here at the Heat, LeBron took a pay cut and Wade took a pay cut to get everybody else like Battier, Chalmers, like all them on the team. I don't think Winston deserves $35 million. I don't think he will get $35 million.
I think he deserves $20. That's it.